And so today, our topic of the day is, are you in a growth environment? And I want every one of us to be asking ourselves this. The beautiful thing is that we have so much of this with our team. But I really want to be asking ourselves and to be making sure that we're putting ourselves in that personal growth environment. So that's what we're going to be talking about briefly today, growth environment. And here's how you will know if you are in a growth environment. Okay, there's a number of questions to ask yourself, and this is how you will know. And this is something you can ask yourself again and again to make sure you're always in that growth environment. The first one is that there are others ahead of me. You know, you need to be in a position where there are people ahead of you. If you're at the top of your class, you're in the wrong class. You know, I love that quote. You can't be at the top of the class. You always have to be learning from people who are ahead of you. That is a growth environment. You're in a growth environment when you are continually challenged. Okay, you need to be continually challenged for the next level, the next level, the next level. Once you arrive somewhere, you know, just like Hugo tells us in the law of progress, the only thing we should be asking ourselves is, what is next? What is next? Okay, so you're in a growth environment if you are continually challenged to get to the next level. You are in a growth environment if your focus is always forward. Okay, look at what's ahead of you. Don't spend time looking at what happened, you know, being disappointed with results. Yes, you can reflect definitely on what has happened in the past so that you learn from it and you evaluate how to move forward in a more positive way. But your focus should always be on what's ahead. Your focus should be on what is forward to you. You're in a growth environment if you're in an atmosphere where it's affirming to you. You know, you need people around you who can say, yes, you can do it. I believe in you. I know you have it in you. I'm so excited for you. Congratulations. You need to be in that positive environment. There's not that many of us who are always in that environment of affirmation. And we're so lucky because, you know, we have it here for sure. It tends to be an environment of affirmation in network marketing generally. And then if you're with the right team, it's always there as long as you're plugging into it. So have that atmosphere of affirmation. Then you're in a growth environment if you often step out of your comfort zone. Now, this is a big one. And I would really challenge each one of us to ask ourselves, am I stepping out of my comfort zone on a regular basis? Am I doing things that scare me? Am I doing things that make me nervous? Am I doing things that give me a sick feeling in the bottom of my stomach? If you are doing things that make you really uncomfortable, I want you to put a yes into the chat, because it's super, super easy to stay where it's comfortable. Very, very easy to stay where it's comfortable, but you're not going to grow there. Okay, we all know that. And so every day, every week, ask yourself, what are you going to be doing this week that's going to push you out of your comfort zone? And it's going to feel it. I mean, that's the whole idea. It feels uncomfortable. It feels scary. It feels really nerve-wracking. You know, I was on an Instagram live interview last night, my first time on Instagram. I was uncomfortable. I didn't know how to connect. I didn't study in enough time. So I actually realized that I could only connect on my phone, not on my laptop, which means that I had to be in an environment that had a good enough background and good enough lighting. And so, you know, just before the live interview, I was trying to get my ring light working and I couldn't figure out or remember how to turn it on. It didn't work. And so, you know, it was a really uncomfortable situation for me. I ended up being a little bit in the dark. My ring light wouldn't go on. I was holding it with my phone. So the phone was at eye length or eye view against the lightest wall that I could find in my house, but it was evening, so it was a little bit dark. So, you know, I was really out of my comfort zone, that's for sure. And I have to get better at it. but I know once I do it a few times, it's going to get much easier. So every month you want to ask yourself, or every week you want to ask yourself, what have you done this week to get out of your comfort zone, and try something that is just a little bit scary. Once you do it a time or two, it's not scary anymore. And then you can keep your future forward and think of what's next. How am I going to stretch myself next? Where am I going to go next to get out of my comfort zone? So comfort zone is a big one. Here's another one. You know, if you're in a growth environment, if you wake up excited, to get going on your day, excited to tackle your goals for the day, excited to get going on your to-dos for the day because you're growing. Okay, so that's another signal if you are in a growth environment, and an environment is very, very key. And also, you know, you're in a growth environment if you're not afraid to fail. Failure is not the enemy. You learn from failure. Just like me, I learned from not being in the best lighting, not being in the best position, not having the right background for my interview. I learned from it. So it's no big deal, no big issue. I'm going to be better the next time. So failure is never the enemy. Don't worry about that. Okay, just learn from it and keep growing. So failure is not the enemy is another question to ask yourself. This is another one, very important. Others are growing. You're going to know you're in a growth environment when others around you are growing. If you're in an environment where nobody is growing, you know, some of you may have jobs, or you may have family lives where people are very comfortable, right? No one is really into personal growth or any kind of growth. They're just happy to go about their day-to-day living. That's fine. You know, you have to be with those people. You want to be with those people. You may love those people, but you also need to be in an environment where others are growing. Very, very important. Then you want to be in an environment where people desire change. Okay, if you're the only one who wants to change, just like this caterpillar growing into a butterfly, right? Every one of us wants to change. We want to get better. We want to grow. And if you're not in an environment where people want to change, where people want to grow, you're going to feel you're going to feel like a misfit. It's going to be very difficult for you to be the only one in that environment that actually wants to grow and change. So make sure you're in an environment where people actually want to change. They desire it. And be in an environment where growth is modeled and expected. Okay, you need to be in an environment where growth is expected of you. You know, you almost want to feel badly if you're not growing. If you're not growing in a demonstrable way, you want to feel like you're not meeting up, right? So be in that environment where you're pushed to grow. Your people in front of you are modeling growth, right? They're modeling growth. I have, how many books do I have on the go right now? 3 books on the go right now. I'm finishing up The Path, which has been very amazing for my personal vision and personal plan, mission. And then I'm listening to John Maxwell's Laws of Growth, which is amazing. That's where this has come from. And I'm also reading David Imanite's book, Believe Nation. You know, I want to read successful people's books as well. So always be modeling growth for others around you, and look for an environment where others are modeling growth for you and it's expected. And then how do you create that environment? How do you enhance your environment? You know, you need to ask yourself all of the questions we've just asked. And then if you want to enhance your growth environment, be around great people. Seek great people out and be around them. That's why I love so much being around Ugo. I love so much being around Eric Worre and the top earners in network marketing in my weekly mastermind class. I love being around Marina Worre and the most powerful women in network marketing. You know, be around great people, and also be around great events. Okay, so any event like this one, any event that you have the opportunity to be part of, you want to be part of it. It's really, really important. You don't know what inspiration, what knowledge, what push you're going to get by being at an event. So congratulations to all of you for being here. And go to great places, travel, experience, go to great places. For me, I love to travel, and being around other environments, traveling can be a really great way to experience growth as well, whether it's local travel, whether it's international travel, but it's also a good way to grow, whether it's going to conferences, whether for me, I'm going to be, we're going to the Maldives as Diamonds with Max, which is going to be splendid in July. And I'm going to go a few days early, and I'm going to use that time for growth and reflection and reading and creating and just spending time in a beautiful environment that I can totally rejuvenate and continue to grow. So I'm looking forward to that. And then books. Books is one of the easiest ways that you can enhance your growth environment. And I know that I've shared this before, but I'm reading now in a completely different way than I used to. I am now not just reading a book or listening to a book or scanning a book. I'm actually studying. I'm summarizing notes as I go. If I'm reading a physical book, I'm highlighting along the way, even with a pen, I'm writing down notes. And then at the end of that chapter, I actually type out the summary of what I learned. And then I also type out the application, what I want to do with what I've learned. Okay, so if I'm listening to an audiobook, then as I'm listening, I'm typing out notes. And I'm actually thinking to myself that for me, I think my preference is going to be a physical book so that I can actually highlight and record. So reading books and then figuring out how you're going to apply the knowledge is also an excellent way to grow. John Maxwell tells a great story in his book when great men get together. One of the first things that they ask each other is, what have you learned since I last met you? What have you learned since I last met you? Imagine you're meeting with people, you have people in your lives, and every time you meet with them, your best colleague or whoever that is, and you can share that question, what have you learned since I last met you? Wouldn't that be an amazing relationship to be in, an amazing state of personal growth to be in for yourself? It would be really incredible. Growth is a journey. It never finishes. I loved what I got from John Maxwell's book, and it caused me to reflect. Should we be growth focused or goals focused? I've always been goals focused. I always have targets in mind. I always have that. But really the answer is growth focused, because if you can be growth focused, then you're always continually striving to improve, continually striving to become better, continually striving for the next thing. And so that will help you towards all of your goals. So I'm happy to share this short training with you today. And it's not difficult to learn and learn and learn, and then turn the learning into little nuggets of things that you can share as well with your teams, with the people around you, so that everyone can continue